The next video of my LCK preview series will be OK Bro, as you can tell by the title. A team that, if you're new to the channel, I have had. If there's a team that I do not enjoy watching, it's this one. The style of play is very boring, and frankly, that's why the team hasn't had any success the last few years, in my opinion, due to coaching and management. I feel like they are stuck in a time long ago where there was a successful way to play the game, but that simply hasn't been the case, and it just for some reason continues to. The game continues to be played that way by this team. It doesn't make any sense. They'll play like an hour-long game and lose. Like it truly is. It is terrible. So this team's ranked 10th going into the season, in part due to the fact that they have 2.5 rookies roughly. Palu played a lot of games last year, but he's still a very young player. The last 2 years, no championship points. In 2022, they did make playoffs and get swept out, so they were 8th in championship points that season. In top lane, we have Morgan. Morgan's 5th in his role. He's the highest ranked player on this team. Morgan at his best is probably a 5th ranked top laner, middle of the road. 1.9 KDA, 58.8 KP, and 8.3 CS per minute. I mean, he died a lot, but he was involved in the team's fights because the team doesn't fight much. So, in the end, I mean, they kind of ball up and they fight around objectives if they fight at all. 0.9 share differential, 1.31 ROI. He has a good share differential because he has an opportunity to, when he's in the fight, he's able to deal some damage, I guess. Down 175 gold at 15 minutes. Over 3 vision efficiency, which is good in the side lane, finding opportunities to place solid vision. 17 champions, 82 games, 23 years old. Makes him the oldest player on this team. Kayasante, Renekton, and Aatrox, just over half of his games played. Now, behind him is Lonely. And if you're a CBLOL fan, yes, that's the Lonely that actually couldn't even keep a job in CBLOL and was in Academy at one point last season. So, literally went from CBLOL Academy to CK, which I would say is an upgrade. So, it's really quite interesting. A veteran presence there, actually older than anybody on this team. Had a 3.1 KDA, 57.6 KP, and an 8.2 CS per minute last year in CBLOL. Positive 0.5 share differential, 1.3 ROI. Down 75 gold, 2.57 vision efficiency, 16 champions, 45 games. I mean, it'll help development of a player below him in half to be able to play against Lonely because Lonely is experienced, but outside of that, I don't see the perk. 3.2 KDA and a 47.7 KP for half, so not very involved in his team's fights last year. 1.36 ROI, 12 champions, 77 games. In the jungle is Hambach. Hambach joins from KT Academy. They brought in Hambach and Hype from that squad to try and get one going themselves in Brion. 22 years old as a rookie, so we'll see how that goes. But going into this, he's ranked last because he's a rookie. So 4.6 KDA, a 70.3 KP, and a 6 CS per minute. Now the team was so good that I will say his KP is probably tough to really contemplate because the bot lane probably was fighting a lot. Zinni in mid lane getting solo kills, etc. Negative 4.1 share differential, 1.14 ROI. I mean, a decent amount of ROI given the share differential, but the team was aggressive. Did show he was superior to the CK junglers, up 355 gold at 15 minutes. So every game that he won even, there's a game he's up 700 gold. 3.97 vision efficiency. You'd like that better given you think about KT. You think about how good Zinni is in lane and the bot lane duo, that he should have had better stat line in terms of vision. 16 champions in 118 games, 22 years old. Vi, Lee Sin, and Rel, 41% of his champion pool. Behind him is Elam. Similar to Lonely, Elam is a player that did have an opportunity in the LCK, I believe even on T1, but that just didn't come to fruition long term. He ended up kicking around Latin America and then even Japan last season. And maybe as a veteran presence in the instance that Hambach does not do very well, I could see Bro doing that because Bro are just the type of team to find a, afterthought type of player and throw them in the lineup. 2.9 KDA, 75.6 KP, a 6.2 CS per minute. So 3 out of every 4 kills, very active in Sengoku Gaming success. A team that also I think may have had a Korean AD carry. Negative 1.1 share differential and a 1.22 ROI. So very important from a carry perspective for his team. That's one of the better jungle share differentials you're going to see across even the PCS. 25 gold ahead. Just over 3 vision efficiency, so extremely inefficient with vision. That is problematic. 20 champions in 59 games. Mid lane is Closer. Last year, Closer took a step back statistically. It seemed that in 2022 and 2023, his stat lines were very strong relative to everyone else. This past year, 9th in the LCK going into this season. He needs to recover. Justly, he's been dropped from a team that you could say could finish 6th place to a team that's towards the bottom every year. 3.3 KDA, 65.6 KP, and a 9.9 CS per minute. Very high resource. Very good mechanically. But in lane, with all these resources, he still wasn't dominant in the early game. A lot of it was in the mid to late game. So, 3.8 share differential, 1.45 ROI. Those numbers are lower because of all the gold he's getting. But you'd like him to be dealing a high amount of damage. You see, guys, Chovy's got better numbers and he has higher farm. We could say, oh, well, Genji are better than Live Sandbox or Fear X, but the fact of the matter is, got to get your shots in when you can. Otherwise, where's the gold actually going? Just one second. So, down 115 gold at 15 minutes, 2.51 ROI, 2.51 vision efficiency, 16 champions in 91 games. Is 21 years old still, so still a very young player. Talia, Corki, Azir, just over half of his games played. Behind him is Starlet. Starlet, I think, played with DRX last year in Academy. Or Genji, one or the other. 2.3 KDA, a 62 KP, and a 9.6 CS per minute. That's not great, right? Died a lot. KP is low. Not a good combination. Played a lot of Tryndamere last year mid, which was interesting. 4.9 share differential and 1.77 ROI, though. So did deal a good amount of damage, given the circumstance. Down 175 gold, 3.31 vision efficiency, 15 champions, 46 games. Just one second. I think we're finishing up Starlet here. Could be wrong. Down 175 gold, 3.31 vision efficiency, which is good. 15 champions, 46 games. So the 80 carry role on this team, we have Hype and Bull, both brought in from outside of Bro's organization. Hype, I think, is the starter, but Bull is there for insurance as well. Hype had a 6.9 KDA, a 69.3 KP, and an 8.8 CS per minute last season. High KDA, and in the playoffs is where he made his bread and butter. He had some really, really dominant series where I think he had like 1,000 DPM in one of them. So, Hype shows up in big moments. He's now separated from his support and Wei. We'll see how that goes. 4.1 share differential, 1.71 ROI. And looking at the share differential on this team, it lacks. So, we're lacking like 1.4 share differential or so. So somebody's going to have to do more with their gold than they did last season for their teams. And in particular, I think that is between Closer and Bull to do. Because Morgan's actually positive. So, evidently Bull, and in part due to how good KT Academy was, or Challengers was, that Hype didn't deal as much damage. He's going to have to. I said Closer and Bull, but it meant Hype. Hype's up 415 gold at 15 minutes, 2.66 ROI. 16 champions in 118 games. 21 years old. Varus, Zeri, and Senna, 42% of his champion pool. The Senna games probably affecting things. In terms of Bull, going into this season, he would rank last amongst LCK 80 carries that played last year, if he was the starter, in 9th place, because he did play 42 games in the LCK last year based on that 42 game sample. Now, when you take all 70 games he played last year into account, he leaves a bit to be desired. I think Bull is more of a weak side shot calling 80 carry than anything else. They're rare, but he kind of fits that mold, as we saw when he was playing with KDF last season. That, oh, wow, look, Bull's in the lineup. He's making these calls for fights, and that was kind of the perk of him, compared to, an AD carry that kind of just dominates team fights and isn't the one really calling for them. 3 KDA, 68.2 KP, 8.4 CS per minute because he plays a lot of Seraphine and weird shit down there. 1.8 share differential and a 1.43 ROI. Like I said, not very carry oriented. Down 145 gold, only a 2.28 vision efficiency as well because he's not getting ahead in lane. 18 champions, 70 games. Palu at support ranks 8th going into the season at 18 years old. One of the youngest players in LOL Esports. I really hope to see him develop. I really, despite me saying that Bro is a team that I don't enjoy watching, I still hope that the players get better year to year. Palu, last year had some really nice moments as they were swapping between Envy and Samver at the AD carry role. And him, I remember it was Envy, it was Samver and Palu into like Guma Caria for their first series and actually stood their ground in a big way. And that kind of told me, okay, this kid's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. He handled that moment. That was a big moment, and that's a good sign that he'll be okay. 2.2 KDA, 73 KP last season. So 3 out of every four kills for Bro getting around the rift. 15 of these 83 games are challengers, though. Negative 6.1 share differential, 0.68 ROI. Very traditional support, not necessarily aggressive. Down 265 gold at 15 minutes. Doing the math there, 450. I mean, this team's ahead by quite a bit if Hambuck and Bull were to repeat their challenger performances, but I doubt the laning phase will go as easily for them this time as it did last year. 1.82 vision efficiency, 16 champions, 83 games. Nautilus Ral Rakan, 53% of his champion pool. Kais, 2.8 KDA, 76.3 KP, 0.89 ROI, 11 champions, 30 games last season. Listed as a challenger support, very aggressive player. Pooh, 4.9 KDA, 68.5 KP, 0.81 CS per minute. Not CS per minute, it could be, but ROI. 18 champions, 77 games is the academy support. And then there's Levy, who I should have said after Bull, but I didn't. He's the academy AD carry, or challenger AD carry. Had a 5.1 KDA, a 65 KP, and an 8 CS per minute. I mean, hopefully there's a lot of Senna games in there. 1.54 ROI, 16 champions, 77 games. And then Edgar is the coach. I haven't hid the fact that I think Edgar is stuck in 2016, 2017, when he was, one of the best coaches in the world, winning worlds, finishing runner-up. But the last few years are indicative to me that things have not changed. The play style of the team has not changed, and that's the reason they're struggling, not the players. We saw Delight leave, and look at all the success he's had. I think that's a good example. 143 and 195 in the regular season as a coach in the LCK. That's a 42% win rate. 24 and 28 in the playoffs for a 46% win rate and 69% international result. 69% at Worlds, 27 and 12, but that's 2016 and 2017. If you take those out, 2018 he went 1 and 5, hasn't been back since. We look at the playoffs, it's 24 and 28, but he hasn't been in the playoffs except for getting swept 3-0, once in the last 4 years? So it's not great. It's not great. So this team, it's a problem. It needs to get with the times for the players' sake. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.